Hey traders, welcome to Charts and Tiny Mug o' Coffee. This is actually a very cool gift from a member. Really neat place called Clay Plant Road. Reminds me of just a copper mug. It's very cool. So Winter, Paul, if you're out there, love the mug. All right, great to see everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy day before FOMC day. That's what we're talking about here today. The markets are going to continue. Now, let me mention something. I was chatting earlier this morning with the Lorna bot. Many of you know Lorna. She does sessions in our Sector Secrets Mastery for tech. We're going to start to do more Sector Secrets 101 sessions, hopefully going forward. So very excited. And one of the things her and I were talking about is just, and I've mentioned this before with you all, is this discussion of the market. It's actually a very dangerous, I know it's a very common thing. And most of us just mean stocks, right? The indices, stocks. But when we talk about the markets being bearish or the markets being bullish, it's actually a really dangerous habit that we, and I've done it too, that we tend to develop unconsciously, where we sort of paint the entire market with one brush. And the fact of the matter is, nothing is ever happening really in the markets, right? There might be uptrends in some places. There might be downtrends in others. There's chop in yet other places. So hold me to it. Hold yourself to it. Let's be specific to symbols, right? The markets is really not a functional conversation. It's not really going to be a positive or helpful mindset. So equities are choppy. Crude oil is heading lower. Natural gas seems to be still holding its own. So everything's got its own market trend, which also then, reminds us that the personalities of the markets aren't just two. It's not just a binary up and down trend. And if I'm not bearish, then clearly I'm bullish. Realize it's a very myopic way to look at the market. Once upon a time, before I fully embraced Dow theory and the 4 phases, 4 trends of the market, I did the same thing. And which is to say, the market can be in chop. It's a tradable environment. It's a realistic environment. It's okay to say the markets are momentum, bearish momentum right now, but they're not in a downtrend. I don't have a collapse narrative with data behind it. For those of you in the Sector Secrets Mastery, we spent almost an hour and a half breaking down macro, volume, and historical collapses. We talked about 2008 and what it had in common with now. And it was pretty much what? My Sector Secrets Mastery folks, almost nothing in common. I felt like Mr. Wonderful there for a moment. Oh, don't want to channel that. So anyway, keep in mind, it's okay forever. Obviously, it's an opinion. We can share our opinion about where the markets are going, but unless you see the same thing, don't adopt the narrative, right? Just because someone says it repeatedly and loudly doesn't make it so. If there's ever a narrative that you want to know, use the grab candles, use the wave, use the multi-trend, use a lot of these tools that I've made available, most of them for free, because I know they'll move the needle for you, right? And at the end of the day, that is what I want, to put tools and ideas out there that move the needle for you all. All right. So as always, gang, best part of this show, your questions. Let's just dive in because there's really not a whole heck of a lot to look at other than, what is the Federal Reserve going to do come Wednesday? And right now, by the way, before we get too far into it, I do want to take a look at the Fed Fund futures, CME Group, the interest rate countdown, what they call the CME Fed Watch. And if you take a look at what we are expecting for September, it continues to be moving between 78 and 82% probability for the 3/4 of a point hike. It vacillates between 18 and 20% for the full point. So remember, anytime that you're hearing conversation about a potential full point hike, it's certainly, most definitely the lower possibility, right? The probability is for 3/4. All right, so let's jump into it. Emily, how are you? Good morning. I was curious if I will be day trading during the fall. I keep hearing mention of switching. Oh gosh, no. I don't know who's saying that, Emily, but let me know and I will be sure to end that confusion right here and right now. No, this is, and thank you for asking. This is the schedule. This is the schedule that we upgraded to in early summer. This is the schedule that we will be keeping through, well, the foreseeable future. Day trading every morning. My magic hour between 9:30 and 10:35 is still working like gangbusters. We had a great session yesterday. Hope to have another great session today. So while we're waiting for the daily time frames to finally just decide what they want to do, yeah, we will continue to focus on that 9:30 to 10:35 into the fall. Oh gosh, especially into the fall, because now volume is back, participation is back, and the day trading is only going to get better because yesterday we were able to take a breach retreat, which is something we didn't do through summer at all, right? So we'll be adding to this as we go forward. But no, we will not stop that wonderful hour that I spend with you all each morning. No, I love that time. I love it. Personally, it's fantastic because it's really a great way. It's a great supplement to any trader's approach to have that short-term time frame. We will continue to day trade. So thank you for that. All right. Next up, let's see. JR, I did a day trading class in summer. I'm not sure which one you're talking about right now. I know John has a promotion right now. But what I'm talking about is the day trading that I do with a lot of the free tools that I've given you all. So it's something we do in the sector Secrets Mastery. Absolutely. TubeDat pipeline, I am absolutely in agreement. Lorna Bott knows my stuff, and she's a key part of my team here. And having those tech sessions every week, I think has really eased some of the growing pains for new members. So yes, I agree. All right, Nikolai, good morning. Thoughts on wheat? Sure. So to look at WEAT, we're going to start with ZW. So ZW is that part of the conversation that is about the futures contract, which then dictates what we would anticipate to see in the ETF alternative. And same thing with corn, ZC, to the upside, of course, heading into the winter with shortages. If we're talking, so Nikolai, this is my approach to that. So let's talk about the seasonal. Absolutely, let's jump on into that. And if I'm looking at the seasonal tendencies for, say, let's jump into corn. Now, corn may not necessarily have the insight I want into, let's see, is this the ETF for corn? Yeah. So corn may not necessarily show what's happening at the moment with different, as you mentioned, shortages. But generally, if I look at the last 15 years, if I look at the last 10 years, if I look at the last 5 years of corn, I'm with you. There might be a little bit of chop between now, between October to November, but that late September, are we seeing anything like that, right? So the seasonal is saying, look, if you're going to do anything, stick to the long side. I'm with you. Great observation. So then that takes us to, let's go back on over here, ZC. I like ZC, by the way. Nikolai, why did I choose corn and sort of leapfrog wheat? I prefer the structure in corn. In fact, very cool timing on your question. We're starting to go double green. We're north of the 200 propulsion, green grab candles. And then we have that nice synchronicity between the tendency of the seasonal and the actual trade of a buy the dip, which is starting to form. If nothing else, we can fade the 200 propulsion as well. So I like corn a lot in this scenario. So thank you for the question. Love talking about some good old-fashioned grocery store commodities. Colin Prince, do you have a video going over V-score in depth? There are a lot of moving parts to this indicator, arrows, flags, etc. Not sure how to use it all. I believe if you've got the V-score indicator from me, which is a premium tool, gang, with that came some documentation and videos. And if you've taken any of the courses where I teach it, I would say the videos are in the courses that accompany the purchase of that indicator. So I would definitely take a look at that because it gets into the detail of a really important part of any volume tool, which is where do you anchor it and why? And then once you've got that tool on your screen, how do you use it for entries? How do you use it for sentiment? How do you use it to gauge the environment? So I would just go back to the documentation because it's all there. It's all there. And that's the content. And there's a lot of it. And that's the video that we have. Of course, documentation, I think even with the bundle package, I'll have to double check. Hey, bot, could you check? I believe if you go into the members area with the bundle, there's some documentation and videos there as well. All right. Next up, Janet. Good morning. Do I have a morning routine that helps me focus, getting into a positive mindset? Wow. Janet, it's interesting. I belong to a mastermind, and that's part of our conversation. What is it that we do? So some quick, I don't want to be anyone's life coach. I'm still sorting out mine. Right. But this is what I have found works for me. The only reason for a morning routine, and I know there's some epic morning routines out there, and I've met people who have 3 and 4 hour morning routines, gratitude journals and journaling and breathing and, sauna and whatever. And then 4 hours go by and you're exhausted to actually start your day. Whatever primes you to start your day, this is part of my morning routine. You all are actually an integral part of my morning routine. Janet, all I know is my why, right? Why do I get up out of bed at 4:30 other than if my cat wants to be fed? But he's a why, right? So the clearer I am on my whys, why am I getting up out of bed? Who is it that I want to help? You all are a big part of my why. You all are a why. And then I'll quote, and I think it's Jim Rohn who said it, and I think it's a very good quote. If you have more than 3 priorities, you really have none. So what are your top 3? And if a couple books that have helped me with this, if it's any help to you, Janet, Essentialism by Greg McCown. 80-20 is great. Richard Koch. Koch is a good one. I like Essentialism. They're kind of similar. So the Essentialism is really good. And then let's see what else. But that would be a really great place to start. Simon Sinek, that's the why guy. I would start there. So if my why is clear, and if I know that I don't have more than 3 priorities that day, I know I'm on a good path. And that's definitely something. Many of you know Trish, who works with me here, has for a decade now. And she's been, if you've taken a course from me or really almost any content, she's at the helm of that. And if anything, having people around you that tend not to be crazy multitaskers, because I am. I have 9 monitors in front of me, for crying out loud, right? So it's really important the people that you surround yourself with not be, that they be focused. And if anything, she's very hyper focused, and having that influence is really helpful too. So hopefully that helps, Janet. Hey there, Martha. Good morning. Is there a resource I can point to let me know when I'm trading MCL and MGC and how much each point is worth? I have learned the indices, but not sure to position size the other futures. Martha, you can look at your broker is usually going to have, let's say you're trading bonds for the first time and you're just not exactly sure what, say, a 30-second actually represents. It sometimes I forget, right? I know, like you said, we know a NASDAQ is 20 points, S&P is $50 a point. Your broker should have a nice list that breaks that down. But if you're ever in the room with me and you want to know, Rog, what's the point value? Just ask me or bot, and we'll definitely get it to you. Okay. All right. Let's see. Fallen Prince, I bought the new day trading playbook, but I still don't feel I understand the V-score. V-score wasn't part of that one, right? So if you have V-score, Paul and Prince, I'll go back to, if you have the playbook, you've got an unbelievable understanding of slow stow, the way that I use it, and HPMRs, and you've also got that premium for a period of time. So V-score really wasn't part of that particular course, but here's a really good tip maybe that will help you. You already know how to use a slow stochastic, upper end, lower end, the high and the low. Use the V-score in a similar way. Use that V-score in a similar way. And if you look at where the signals go off in the upper and lower end and they sync up with the HPMRs, that's a really great way to begin understanding, to get some traction visually on what that tool can do for you based on a volume prioritized reading. That might set you on a really good path since you have new day trading playbook and the V-score as well. All right. How can you tell a breach retreat is valid or not for day trading? Well, it's got a trigger. It's got a trigger. So once it has triggered, a couple of things to think about. Am I breach retreating opposite the trend? That's definitely something to think about. So the question is here. Let me see if I can't find yesterday's example, because let's see here. This is going to be an upcoming countdowntrader.com video. So let me show you what we did yesterday. Let's see here. I don't know if it's going to show it the way I want it to be shown, but let's see. This was yesterday? No, this is not yesterday. Monday. There we go. Monday. There we go. So our breach retreat, let me grab my drawing tools here. Our breach retreat, there they are, happened right, let's see, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So our breach retreat happened with this candle right here. That's your breach. There's your breach right there. And then the retreat happened in here. And if you remember from whether you're in the Sector Secrets Mastery Room or if you're in, today's Tuesday, so just the Sector Secrets Mastery Room, we day traded, we got long. That's that. So how do you know it's valid? Well, A, it's got a trigger. Was I fighting a trend here? No, I was not fighting a trend here. Was the overall direction in favor, the breach purchase, the buy, was it in favor of the sort of overall direction of the market, or were we at least neutral, where I'm open to a bullish or a bearish opportunity? So, it's those little things that will begin to give me clarity on that setup, right? So the environment really, and if you've been in the morning with me when we are day trading, that so much of what we do is the environment. What kind of environment are we in? So let's fast forward to, just let me give you a little sneak peek of what the conversation will be in the futures room and in my mastery here in just about 2 minutes. We're gonna open up each one of the, here we go, each one of the indices. When I day trade, by the way, gang, don't look at the whole market. Start off with a few touchstone markets. What are they? S&P, NASDAQ, Dow. You can look at the euro, gold, crude, 10-year, right? 30. Maybe you're looking at the VIX because that is a viable futures contract to trade. You look at VX, right? What else do I have up here? That's about it, right? So I start there. It's not a lot. I start there. These are the touchstones for almost anything going forward. If you know where ES, NQ, and YM are going, then think about the sectors and the stocks, index sector stock, right? Think about now the insight you have on those. This is what I do every morning. So again, if you're interested in day trading with me, all you need to do is come check out what we're doing in the Sector Secrets Mastery. And what then happens is think about understanding what those markets are doing. Are yields moving higher or lower? Is there higher or lower volatility? Is gold moving higher or lower? Is the euro moving higher or lower? Is crude moving higher or lower? What are the indices doing? That pretty short list then allows me to understand the context of risk appetite, risk aversion, focus for the remainder of the market. So we start there. And then we can start going to the next step, which is what kind of trend are we inheriting? Gang, we're this morning inheriting a bearish intraday trend. So right off the bat, I'm going to take a look at some basic levels. We're going to take a look at the gap, the size of the gap. Is it a true gap? Is it just a plain Jane vanilla gap? Is it a, just a plain old vanilla gap? Is it, where is it in relation to the previous session's close? So there's a lot of things we know even before the bell rings. And that's exactly right now. It's 9:20. So my futures folks, my mastery folks, I'll see you all in the room. Great question. Thank you as always, gang, for being here in our Charts and Coffee, Monday through Friday. Maybe one of these days we'll just extend the show another 10 minutes and I'll let you take a look at what we do in the room for the first 10 minutes to get a lay of the land. That might be a really cool session to do. We'll just pull the mastery or the futures room into the conversation for about 10 minutes. And that'll give you all here in Charts and Coffee a better idea of this process. But that's what I'm going to start off talking about here in just a moment with those good folks there. Thank you to you all for being here. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same station. Be good to each other, gang.